All right, what's up? It's your girl, Dr. Joy Caduceus, and today we are going to be talking about F up mothers. Now, I titled it that because, when you're angry and you're angry, hurt, emotional, whatever the case, that's pretty much how you feel. Like, my mom is effed up. My mom is, I have my Bible open, so I'm not cursing, sorry. And I had to pray like several times before I did this video, because it's no way that I could address the seriousness of the situation with me and my mom without cursing. So, we're gonna start with a word of prayer, okay? Lord, thank you for this opportunity to share. Lord, I ask that you just use me as an instrument today to deliver a clear message on healing, and just want to remember to give you all the honor and praise, and I hope I make you proud. Amen. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and start right away with scripture, because I am going to close my Bible. I may curse. I need to be as real as possible about the situation, and although I have an extensive vocabulary, I do like freedom of, I'm a big supporter, subscriber of freedom of expression and artistic wordplay. So to make sure that I give you a clear message, it's going to be rough and it's going to be raw, so if you have your children listening, I definitely would say this isn't the one for them to listen in on, just in case. I'm coming directly from me, from my experiences, but whatever, you got the disclaimer, run with that, okay? So the scripture I'm going to be reading from is Luke chapter 8, verse 41, and I'll decide when I'm going to stop, but it'll start at verse 41, not too long. But I think everybody has heard about the woman with the issue of blood, so whatever, I do definitely want to get this in, because we need Jesus in this moment, okay? Then a man named Jairus, a ruler of the synagogue, came and fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house, because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me." Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." Amen. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and close the book. So, if you watch any of my other videos, and it doesn't matter if you have or you haven't, then you know that I come from an urban community, Camden, New Jersey. It is ranked highly among crime capitals, whichever. And it is what it is, and that's where I grew up. And in that environment, in that community, impoverished. I've been out of the country, and to see a third world country in comparison to a small community, the resemblance was astounding to me, because I realized how impoverished Camden was, and for it to be a community like that, made up of people like me and my family. And so I'm an 80s baby, and I have no idea what Hove really means when he says an 80s baby, but I was born in the 80s. I didn't hustle in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, and my parents were the people old enough to do whatever it was that they were doing at the time, and it was rough, you know. Drugs, institutions, everything, you know. And I don't want to go too much into, you know, their past because that's their history. But for me, my parents weren't around, you know, and I grew up with God, and I grew up with the God that, you know, doesn't give you a spirit of fear, you know. So for in my city, in order for you to get respect, it wasn't really necessarily that you walked out the door and said, I want to get respect, I'm going to be respected. It is, you know, no, you can't beat me, and I'm going to stand my ground, you know. And so I got jumped, I got all of those different things. But when you take it back to the home, it was a norm for me to be by myself, to figure out all of the different things. It was me and my brother, and it was normal. I didn't know that people getting killed and me witnessing it, people, you know, I didn't know the type of trauma that I was subjected to. I didn't know that it was trauma. I didn't know until recently that those things were traumatic. The experiences that I had with my mother were what her best, and I held on to that because I had God. Now, even though I'm in the jungle, I'm holding on to God, and I know that, you know, he's gonna work it. I didn't know scripture at the time. I was still learning. I was in the process of learning, but I knew God. That was pretty much all I knew. And he didn't give me a spirit of fear, that's for sure. I was never afraid to walk into a fight. I earned a reputation for that. And it was something that I carried with me. And as I got older, I turned to fight specifically and directly towards life. I said, I'm not going to fight anymore. I want to fight at life. I want to conquer life. And those weren't my intentions to conquer life now, but those were my words. Instead of fighting people, I'm gonna fight for life, you know. And fighting for life led me to real estate, and real estate led me to understand how much money was available in the world. And then I got on to seek thee first the kingdom of heaven. And so I had experienced definitely a lot of failures in that time or whatever. And, you know, I didn't make my million right away. So that was devastating. If you've ever sought after $1 million, then you know that the task in and of itself, coming from a community where you're not exposed immediately to millionaires, to legal millionaires, then, you know, it wasn't something that I was able to grasp. I really had to fall, get up, fall, get up, fall, get up. And so the person I went to help me through these emotions that I was having in my transformation was my mother. And this is adult Dr. Joy with little girl Dr. Joy on the inside, reaching out to adult mommy, growing little girl mommy on the inside, you know. And the only reason that I can acknowledge the little girl in my mother is because she went through a process and a journey to get to where she was. And so as her process, as I walked with her along her path, I picked up on the things that she was learning about, you know, the principles of life and living life on life's terms, and self-esteem building techniques, and taking care of myself and making sure, you know, that I'm treated in a such like manner, and all of those things. And so her expectations for me were extremely high, and she wanted, because our conversations were so in depth, you know. But as I continued to grow and develop my own ideas and things of what I wanted and fail, she no longer was able to be the guiding force for me, you know, because I never held a grudge for the decisions she made as a woman when she had us, because I didn't give a damn. You know, my whole thing was, all right, I'm me. I'm here already. You know, I got these tools. I love myself. I like to take care of myself, you know, and I hope y'all like my hair. I got my hair out. Ooh, yeah, that's me. It's always almost to my butt when it's straightened. So I'm really hyped about that. That's serious news, but almost is not quite there yet. So we still working on it. So anyway, so I started I wanted her to help me walk this path. And it's not the path that she chose to walk. She doesn't have any experience. And so I found myself getting so angry that she couldn't fix me. I was pissed off. I'm like, you know, I'm telling you this and you're not giving me nothing, because normally she was my source in certain areas of my life. You know, she was my source. When I couldn't go and find it in a book, you know, then I could go to my mother and I could get it from her. She would give me the juice that I needed to continue to make decisions that would lead me in the right way. And I was looking for it again. But now I'm chasing money, and I'm chasing big money legally. And she's not giving me what I need, the juice. And I'm getting pissed off. I'm getting angry in a way. And when I say angry, I'm like, you know, what the fuck? Like, you don't understand what I'm saying to you, you know? And the first portion of it, I was on my high horse, because I knew everything. I knew I was going to get this money in like a year or two. I knew, and remember, you know, real estate has been with me for over 14 years. We're coming up on 15 years now. And so, but these are my first 2 to 6 years in. 2 to 6 years, you know. And everything I learned, I always share it with my family, because I know that is what makes us stronger as a unit. You know, I'm all about empire building, you know. And if one is eating and everybody else is starving, what? And you know Jay-Z said it. And if you don't know Jay-Z said it, then look it up. If everybody in your team, if everybody in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged, you know. And I took those types of things to heart. So my team has been my family, you know. But then when the dysfunction started to be uncovered in our family, and specifically with me and my mother, everybody else aside from me and my mother are men. So, you know, men are men. But when the dysfunction was uncovered was when it really got rough, because now, you know, because I'm wounded and I'm hurt, and I realize that it is a struggle to get out of the hood. It is a struggle, you know, to make it out of the rat race, out of the crab barrel, whatever you call it. It is a struggle. And the struggle is normally within ourselves. And it is something that we have to tackle in us, and not necessarily tackle. You have to harness them. You have to bring them into control. You have to control yourself. And so anywhere I went, you know, as long as you respect me, then I could give you that respect. But if you cross the line, then I'm gonna cross the line with you, and I'm gonna cross the line better than you, you know. And when it came down to my mother, and the lines of respect were being crossed, because here we have, you know, a woman, you know, that is very powerful, very strong, rough, raw, spiritual, you know. And anytime spirituality is involved, then it's definitely power. So then you have my mother, a strong force, coming at me with her dysfunction, you know, because I don't think the dysfunction in me is something that's ever going to go away. It's something that I'm going to continue to have to grow with myself and learn the new things that are revealed, because there are things that have happened subconsciously that haven't come to the forefront yet, and when they do, then I'll have to deal with them, you know. But this situation with me and my mother was a pot of water, and it was boiling, you know. And when I had my child, when I had my daughter, things started to surface from my subconscious. And even though they started to surface, I didn't verbalize them, because as they were surfacing, I wasn't able to communicate it to my mother. But because we had been going at each other so hard, you know, her standing her ground and me standing my ground, and to the best of my ability honoring my mother, she was no longer my outlet. So she didn't know what was going on, or how wounded I was, how wounded my little girl was, because she was exposed to a pocket. Okay, a pocket. I was talking to a guy one time, and I started freestyling, and he was like, "You found a pocket," you know, and I was like, "And that's private. I am not a rapper, so, you know, do not look for me to be a rapper," but I'm not a rapper. But I do love words, you know. And from my subconscious came some things that were definitely disturbing. Molestation, understanding that happened to me and I didn't know it, and it surfaced when my daughter came. And I think more so it surfaced because as soon as she came into the world, as soon as I knew she was going to come into the world, I got this protective motherly thing, motherly wit, and it felt primal. It felt I felt more like an animal protecting a cub, and that's the best way that I can describe it. I felt just very protective. And so nobody knew that these things had happened. Nobody knew that, you know, I was having images pop up in my head from my past. I didn't even know they were from my past. I thought it was like a premonition or something. I thought it was something that, you know, could possibly happen or would happen, because I've had that happen where something pops up and then as immediately following it, I have the evidence that this is what took place. And so my mother had her expectations of how my mothering should be done, and it just came to me naturally on how and what I would do with my daughter. And so we began there, and it got really aggressive and really rough. And why I point this point in my life out is because this is where the devil tried to take control of my family, take control of our household, take control of our lives. Because my pain, and it's my pain, it is something that I needed to process because I was reacting to it. My pain allowed the devil a foot to break down my mother's strength on her journey. And I hope you can understand me when I say that, to break down her strength, because when I had my daughter, I understood how much my mother loved me. I haven't been through the things that my mother has been through, but I can tell you that the things that she has been through have hardened her heart. They hardened her heart. And so she has to make a conscious decision to be affectionate, to love, to do those things. Whereas she was my mother. So I had, if nothing else, I had what I needed to be that affectionate, emotional, loving person. And I really do give it all to God, because that was who I was with. You know, they dropped me off at the church. You know, my brother, we walked. We were in the hood. We walked, and I'm talking about 10 blocks. And he walked me my first time. He walked me. I was a little girl. He walked me to Mount Calvary. And when he walked me, we walked back home. And I think he might have did it one more time. And then he started working on Sundays. He had his job. He started working on Sundays. And so I started walking to church myself. And so now my brother is out of the house. He's working. And those two, my mom and my dad, were doing their things, their 80s style type of living. And now having my own daughter, and I'm jumping back and forth. I hope you can keep up. If you can't, rewind it, bring it back, and try and understand it. But now having my own daughter, I really started to question, the expectations that my mother put on me, in comparison to her decisions as a mother. I questioned. I didn't question shit. Really, I didn't question it. I pointed it out. Like, okay, listen. While you're trying to judge me, and criticize and place your expectations on me to be Superwoman, I need you to remember that you were human, just like I'm human. Right now, and that was something, because it really got rough, and it got so rough to the point that we coming down to territory, okay, and territorial. If I tell you that I'm acting like an animal, then I'm territorial. My daughter is my daughter, and so if I say something, then this is what I mean, and this is how it's gonna go. And the devil was trying to use that to block my blessings, because had I made the wrong decision, he would have used guilt, shame, all sorts of things to get inside of me, let alone destroy the relationship that I have with my mother, or even worse, I would disconnect from her completely, and I wouldn't have been able to get the information that I needed to heal properly. Because irregardless of whether I respect her decisions or not, our genetic makeup binds us in a such like manner. It means 9 times out of 10, my gift is similar to her gift. My personal opinion. I'm just giving you my story. Her gift is similar to my gift, and the way that the devil attacked her and caused her and delayed her, because nobody can take our blessings. The way that the devil attacked her and delayed her indefinitely and hinder her ability to connect with me and my brother, hinder her ability to connect with people on an emotional level consistently. Because when you're functioning in dysfunction, sometimes shit goes right, but most of the time, when it's just you and it's really you, the real person, shit is fucked up, and so not allowing, excuse my language, not allowing the devil to block, and I'm trying to just get in, some good life, not allowing the devil to block my blessing through my relationship with my mother became a prime focus, because she matters. No matter what, she matters. Talking to her about my relationship with my daughter's father matters. Being able to go to doctor's appointments with her matters, because I don't want her to pass away and we are angry, and she doesn't know that I love her or how valued she is because some things that were popping up inside of me. And I'm telling you, I could just take it and just be like, you fucked up, you sucked as a mother, you could have did this, you could have did this, you could have did that, you could have did this. But the reality of the situation is that she did the best she could with what she had. And so now all of that turns right back around to me, because those images were popping up in my head. And I gotta move my camera so that I can get a good, let me just pause this and get a good listening, okay? I don't know where the camera is, so work with me on this, okay, so there we go. I tried to get some better lighting or whatever so that I could wrap it up. But long story short, my mother, like, she can't go back and change the shit that she did. She can't give me the tutelage I need to be the woman that I want to develop and grow into. It reminds me of the Talented 10th, and the Talented 10th, and I'm generalizing, so you definitely have to go and look it up, about the Talented 10th. It is our job to do as much and more than the generation before us. And my family, my parents have done a lot, and so, that's my charge, and I take it seriously. And so what I had to do, and I was bullshitting, I thought, okay, now I have to, work, and I need to be able to be with my daughter how I want to. And so I went to my doctor and I opened up. I told him about everything. I told him how I was feeling and what was going on, and the amount of stress that I was under with my daughter when she was born, not being able to be with her, was really vulnerable, caused me to be super vulnerable. And remember, I told you that I was having the flashes of molestation and different things like that. So my doctor wrote me out, and I had to go to therapy. I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. I don't need therapy. And what ended up happening is I had a breakdown. I had a real life, like Mariah Carey, check yourself into the hospital breakdown. And I'm like, what in the, like, no, this is not real. Somebody drugged me. This is not real. This cannot be happening. I'm really having like a breakdown. Like, I am Superwoman, okay? And that is me. I'm Superwoman. I'm the girl who will work 3 jobs. I will wake up. I'll have a job that starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll go get an overnight job, and I'll work that job overnight until, like an hour before my next shift starts. Take a nap in the parking lot, and change my clothes, get up and head right into my next job with a smile on my face, because I like to collect money. And now I had a meltdown. And so what ended up happening is I had to go to therapy. I had to go and talk to a therapist. And as I talked, and I've talked to people before or whatever, but I think it's definitely something more that you get out of talking to someone who is a professional and skilled at diagnosis and treatments and all of those different things. And it's some shit, because I studied psychology in school, and it talked about black women being us having a high percentage of ailments that go undiagnosed due to a lack of treatment. And treatment was therapy. treatment was going and talking about what was going on. Okay, and my eyes are so big because it still amazes me at what talking to a skilled professional about my life and my feelings was, because I'm not a basher. I'm not a person who talks about people's business. If I'm talking about your business, then I'm talking to you about your business and what you're doing to come up with a solution for your business. Once the gossip starts, I'm gonna flip the subject around and we're gonna get to. Okay, so all right, this is part 2 to dealing with the effed up mom, and I can't curse now because I'm recording in the car because I'm going to Bible study. Look, I get my word in how I can get it in. So I'm on holy ground. So it's not going down. I'm not cursing right now. I'm still a work in progress. But when I left off, I put my hair up in a ponytail. I really didn't like how it looked, but whatever. Like I normally wear weaves, sew-ins, wigs. I'm a big supporter of maintaining my hair under my weaves. I wear a weave, for the season, not a reason. That's always been my thing. But anyway, back to the real, and that is on my mother and going to counseling. When I went to therapy, I just didn't want to go in there just talking about her and pointing out all of the things that were jacked up about her. And what ended up happening, and it still amazes me that this really happened. What ended up happening is the psychiatrist pointed out, he just pointed out my situation in a way that I could see it clearly and make objective decisions from outside of myself, outside of my emotions. He showed me they showed me my story from different perspectives, because I'm pretty smart, and so smart you dumb. That happens to the best of us, and so why the gossiping part was important is because when I talk to like my friends or anything like that, they have biased opinions, and I'm not looking for something biased. I'm looking for something I want you to, or I acknowledge the truth. I want you to not acknowledge the truth, but I also want you to point me in the direction of healing, because without going to therapy, I wouldn't have then been able to go back to my mother and talk to her again. And I'm serious. We haven't been able to talk out. We have been doing this instead of being able to reach that place where you connect and exchange, and I don't think I could never get back that woman that was 24. She was like 25 or 26 when she had us and she was younger, and get all the jazzy stuff that she would have given me as like a mom, and the tips and the secrets to being a woman and being a thoroughbred. I can never get that back, and I probably don't want it because her dysfunction was much more prevalent in her life then. For her to grow and become this woman that she is today. And then for me to go to therapy and work with my feelings, and to really feel better. Not have to say, all right, I'm just not messing with her no more. Because when I saw Tommy on Love and Hip Hop, and she was standing in the kitchen and she was talking to her mom, Scrap Mom. I think that's Scrappy Mom. Scrap Mom had an intervention for her. And she was talking to her mom, and she was like, now, even though her little girl is still hurt on the inside, the woman, our outer woman, is who takes care of that little girl. And it's like, all right, heifer, you ain't giving me what I need, then I'm not messing with you. I'm not going to deal with you, But the reality is that doesn't make the little girl feel any better, on the inside. Because until we really heal, it stunts our growth emotionally, and Tommy mom is Tommy's mom. you know, and she has to accept some things. And just like all women have to accept things about the decisions that we make that cause the consequences that we have to live out. Okay, and I'm really sorry about, you know, y'all not being able to see me, because I gotta get to church and I'm not. I just want to get this over because I'm getting ready to do the videos on getting this money. I'm so excited. I go kick it with my broker tomorrow evening, and hopefully, you know, he'll get on here and he'll be able, maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna ask him. I might ask him. I don't know, I'm a little shy. I kind of just want him to see, you know, my angle and where I'm coming from with it, so he can, you know, see if he like it. But dealing with this has been a real breath of fresh air. To sit down with my mother and to talk with her and to just hear her input was like, what? The amount of anger that she felt dealing with my father and how she processed that, you know, how she dropped the ball with it and how she healed from it, you know, can save me a lot of time dealing with my daughter's father, whom I love dearly, you know, and that's just the bottom line. You know, she got the keys, and what the devil don't want is for us to get access to that information. And so Tommy mom, you know, she's scared. Her little girl is scared and don't want to get hurt no more, you know, and Tommy don't want to get hurt either, you know. So I wouldn't, you know, what worked for me was counseling, you know, and it wasn't counseling with my mother. It was counseling by myself to deal with me, because what I need to do, I'm still going to get that done. I'm still getting that done. But I needed her. I need you, you know. And without counseling, without counseling, I wouldn't have been able to ask her, you know, do you want me to go to the doctors with you? You know, because God had took that from us. And this is major, you know, this is major. We are each other's hearts. And look, y'all, I love y'all. I just thank God that I'm able to kick it with my mom. If you're not my church, y'all, come on, keep me in prayer. If you're not dealing with your mom, you know, and it's painful and it's real, you're right, she's wrong, you're right, she's wrong, but you need to go and get help. Go and get counseling. And it's not something you necessarily want to talk about to everybody, because, you know, it's not for everybody. You know, sometimes we need real help. We need real therapy. And you'll be surprised what it can do. You know, what a difference a day makes. You know, some stuff like that. But all right, y'all, I love y'all. I hope this was useful. The woman with the issue of blood, hey, I think it was her family, you know, and I think when she reached to God, you know, she was looking for some love, and her faith got it, you know. So God bless. I got y'all in prayer. Keep me in prayer. If you're ready to get your life right, get your money right, get your real estate together, hit me up, drjoycaduceus@gmail.com. I am going to church.